Hey everyone. Um, it's been a minute since I've done a one of these videos. Here, let me make my model bigger. But if you guys don't know, this is my journal entry series where I focus on not like making jokes and more just like giving you insights and behind the scenes of like how I feel and stuff because I like oversharing. But since I can't even remember the last time I did this, it must have been like a couple months ago. Life has been weird, to say the least. I definitely have been lacking a lot of motivation for just like anything. I don't know. I think this whole year has been like me brute forcing anything that I do and not having like a lot of passion, which is like hard with the whole YouTube side. It's been weird for me because I've been lacking motivation and I definitely feel worse about my abilities to be like entertaining right now. And I don't know why. Yeah, that's hard. It makes it so like streaming is difficult because I don't know my like things to focus on to bring people in, I guess. And I've been like stuck with like, why am I doing YouTube? Which you can see through my content. It's always like very sporadic and focused on like whatever I'm enjoying for the week. And that's hard to grow an audience that way. I've been very in my head about my interactions with others, I think. And that makes it harder to be myself, whatever that means. It doesn't help that I'm like taking a lot of deeper abstract classes. But I've been reflecting a lot on just like who I am. I think that a big part of my channel has been me and my gender, I guess. And it's super hard to think about like that stuff for me because it's just very painful, I guess. It's always a big question for me of like, why do I want to be not seen as super masculine? It's always like, am I just like naturally not masculine? And like, I try hiding that because of like shame from past experiences? Or is it for just like attention? When I say attention, it's like when you're more feminine in society, people are more outwardly expressive of them taking interest in you, for better or for most of the time worse. And I don't know if I'm just doing that because I want kind of people to see some value in me, even if it is just like purely like objectification, which has always been a problem for anyone who presents feminine in any way, is this debate of like trying to feel a connection and validated, but recognizing that a lot of people just do that in order to get something out of you. I guess another concern of mine has been my content just in general. It's always been a really big thing for me for trying to entertain while also trying to keep privacy and things professional. I feel like a lot of my humor is like saying or doing dumb things, but because, as Chad knows, like I'm trying to focus on mental health and be a therapist, I feel like there's a duty to correct myths that I see and also keep privacy in case, future patients see my content, I guess. I don't want them to know that it's me. I think that it leads to me restricting myself a lot. I've always felt like I needed kind of like a purpose or sense of like thing that I'm striving for. I had my siblings be very focused on certain career goals or like things that they value a lot. And for me, I've never been like interested in a lot of things, like singly interested in one thing. It's always been like, oh, I like this for a little bit, then I like this, and then I like this, and then I like this. And it feels like I'm stuck in this like limbo of like what makes me like motivated to do anything, you know? I feel like I need a bigger purpose. Like it just gets really hard to hear very, very sad stories constantly. Even more so when you already are like struggling to find a way to cope with that, you know? In therapy, there's a thing that we use for therapists dealing with this thing called compassion fatigue, where you just get so burnt out from handling all this stuff, this just terrible after terrible story, that you just feel like everything sucks in the world and that you're not making a big enough difference. I've felt this very recently a lot, just because in fields that I've been assisting in because of certain things, and that just makes me feel very, very bad. I don't know. I don't know the correct word for it. I think that it's really hard for me to talk about this sometimes on these video formats. I was thinking about using my Discord to have like a little channel where I reflect on just some of my thoughts throughout the day. Do like a little actual diary, I guess. And that way you guys can read it. I think that I've valued a lot more in recent weeks just writing things down and organizing my thoughts, because then I can recognize some of the thought patterns that I have that are just illogical, which is a common thing in cognitive behavioral therapy. But I just really hate it. And it wouldn't be like just me like trauma dumping, like it all started when I was born. It would be like things that aren't related to my life either. It would be just like ideas, like consciousness, or, you know, media theory, things like that, where I don't feel like I can make a video on it because I'm not informed enough, but I can share kind of my thoughts on it. I think I just really need accountability right now in trying to build coping mechanisms, because I keep telling myself that I'm going to like start journaling or meditating again, which in the past have vastly improved just how I feel. Also, I've stopped kind of running a lot because either I'm at home doing homework during those times or I'm streaming. I kind of have my streaming time when I would usually eat dinner or run. And now I either have meetings or streams or like projects to work on. And when I'm not doing that, I'm just like playing Pokemon on the couch, knocked out. I think I've gotten back to feeling like YouTube's this big, huge thing that I need to analyze and plan out every move. Like, oh, I need to focus on like, how do I make these thumbnails better? How do I entertain? What should I be like super careful about talking about? Which I think granted every person needs a little bit of that, but it's turned into me being very avoidant of something that I really like. I like sitting down and chatting with people. Unfortunately, just like I stopped streaming and posting as frequently, which led to like people not being able to, watch streams as much. And when I do stream, a lot of people are busy, and it just leads into me being like, oh my gosh, I'm a bad entertainer. When it's like, no, I just, there's a lot of things I can't control. It's super hard to not feel that way though, One thing that I was trying to do before I started streaming and doing these types of videos, I've always wanted to do like interviews or just like hear people's stories. That's one of the main reasons why I'm going into therapy, is to just hear people talk and learn their perspective on life and gain insight into how different and vast the human experience is. But it's super hard to find people to do that with, you know? I always like think of, I don't know if you guys remember this, back in like 2018 to 2022, I saw a lot of videos of like interviews in VR chat or something like that. And I was like, oh my gosh, it would be so cool to be able to, you know, experience these stories and talk to these kinds of people and give them a platform to share their experience. But it's really hard to find people, and I am terrified to reach out. I guess what I'm just saying is, like, I feel very, very lost in my purpose, and I need better coping skills and to reach out to people. However, that's just like terrifying, and it's always been an issue for me. It's also just very hard to meet people. I don't know. This is why I kind of stopped doing these as much, because I get so focused on how much there is to do that I just get overwhelmed. And I don't want these videos to ever be like, oh my gosh, my life is so hard. It's just like, I feel very stuck and unsatisfied. And I don't know if anyone finds me just talking about that to be entertaining. Like, it's not like I'm like sad or crying every day. It's just like I wake up and there's either I have classes or there's just like no purpose. There's no fulfillment, I guess. It's like when you play a game and you get to that point where you're like in the middle of it or something, and the gameplay just gets very, very repetitive, and you're like not bored or like done. You're just like, can we get to the next part? I feel like I've been stuck like that for a long, long time. I just don't know what decisions to make to get to the fun parts again. I don't know if I'm going to upload this. If I do, I don't expect it to do well. If you're still watching, like, oh my gosh, big ups for you. It means a lot. I'm not even going to try making a thumbnail. I just want to put something out there and see if people can relate, or at least like give insight into how I'm feeling. Yeah, thanks for sticking with me if you still watch, no matter how long. It means so much. So have a good one. Bye bye. So can't get the wink down.